Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. It is Tuesday, December the 3rd, 2024. I hope you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving week and long break. I know that we did. It was very restful. I had some family time with the kids. My sister came down. There may have been some changes if you can't tell. Yeah, it was a good time. A good time was had by all for the holidays around these parts. We're making some changes to the show, and I alluded to that. I hope everyone can hear me. By the way, just give me a thumbs up if you can't hear me, or if you can, or whatever. Just let me know. But I made some allusions or alluded to the fact that we might be changing some things here on Texas Fully Loaded, and that we were asked to take over TECN.TV, and all of that does still stand. However, there's and if, or an and but, or a however, it cost $1. And as you guys know, Texas Fully Loaded isn't a cash cow. We've been paying for this out of our own pocket. It's been a collaborate between myself, Jack, Walter, sometimes my mom, to keep it on the air for the last really kind of six months or so. And it costs too much money. It costs money to put this show on. And because it costs money, because it costs over half of my day to do a 2-hour show 5 days a week, the cost is too much now. The cost is just way too high. So we've decided that it's time to cut things back. It's time to come back a little bit. We're probably still going to change some of the viewing platforms in terms of how we broadcast. But now we're only going to do two days a week. We're only going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays for right now. And the toss up is if it's only going to be 1 hour or two. I'm kind of down for 1 hour right now. But now that the network, if you're used to viewing us on TECN.TV or TexasFullyLoaded.com, those options are no longer available to you right now. So the only way that you can watch Texas Fully Loaded is on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter at Bacon Nation, TX Bacon Nation. So those are the only ways that you can view us now, which does kind of open us up to other possibilities, because now we're not, as of right now, on a network schedule. So there's some pluses and some minuses happening. One is that we might be able to start saving some money and some time and different things like that. So we might have some flexibility, which is a good thing, because since, as I just mentioned to everybody who runs the show, we also have lives. Like we don't get paid to exclusively do this show. And yet we were putting exclusively doing this show time into it, and resources that, quite frankly, were being abused. And I'll be kind of mean and say by y'all. So I appreciate you every single day that you tune in and watch our show, however you watch it, or if you let them stack up and however you do, thank you. We would not still be on the air if it wasn't for that fact that we know people still come back and watch the show, which brings us to why we don't want to completely get rid of the show. Texas Fully Loaded will not go anywhere. Let's make that, like, me, Walter, Jack, we're still committed to making sure accountability is being done, that y'all know what's actually happening, whether it's in Austin or in DC. But as things do, our goals shift, and that's healthy, right? You can't just be, one tree minded in a forest, especially when that one tree is not doing everything that you needed it to do to begin with. So we're still going to be around. The legislative session's coming up. But there are some changes that are happening in the background that are time consuming, right? And with God willing, I actually hear back on a couple of these jobs that we've put out for. I actually had an interview and all that fun jazz. So I'm feeling hopeful on some things. We might actually not be able to just, sit here all day long. Not that we ever had that luxury in the first place. Texas Fully Loaded has been a lot of things to a lot of people. It's been an outlet. It's been an avenue for information. It's been a reason to get up for me when I was going through some political blues, if you will. So Texas Fully Loaded has a place, and it has a purpose, and it has a reason to be. But you know, I told my mom yesterday, and Walt and I talked about it yesterday, and some really kind of for a while. You know, it's frustrating to know that we've poured so much of our souls into this, only to kind of be in a position where, you know, we're not asking for a huge give back, but we just need something, right? We need comments, and I love you too, Be Free Patriot. You know, I forgot because I'm using my phone still. And then there's frustrations, right? Like, I have my laptop sitting in front of me, and the same part that has been replaced, now going on 3 times, is still not working. So, you know, it's like, okay, sometimes you feel like God and the universe is kind of telling you, hey, let's reprioritize. Let's find some better focus so that we can do better. And so that's where I feel like we are. Thank you. You know, the thing is that this has never been it's about us show. It has been it's about y'all, and y'all needing to know what's going on in our state and in our country, and breaking it down into bite sizes, so that, number one, that you know, and number two, a lot of times people don't know half of the content that we put out. We're always able to prove it and to back it. But then they're like, wait a minute, we didn't know that this stuff was happening. So Texas Fully Loaded is not going anywhere. We just have to reevaluate, reprioritize, and be more available, and being strapped to a computer desk. Isn't that right, Walter? Yay. So I have to say something funny. You're gonna laugh. You're not gonna laugh. Hate it when I mess with my hair. So I thought that I was going to have fun and curl my hair for the show today, because it's like, hey, look, new hairstyle, right? And then I curled it, and because it's so short, like, it poofed up really bad, and I was like, oh no. And then it got all like frizzy and stuff, and so then I tried to put it in a ponytail, and that didn't make it any better. And so now I just have this crazy curly hair. I just wanted some body, because it's always just so flat and straight. But there was no body to be had, Walter. I know, these are problems that you have every day.
What in the holy hell are you talking about?
My hair. You always have hair problems. Your hair problems are, I couldn't find a gel.
Gel. Yeah. Hey, I found the clippers, so I'll be stopping by there on my way in today, so I'm good to go.
I hope that you mean like an actual barber shop, and you're not going to do it yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm making more money than I did back when I was in the Army, so I don't have to cut my hair anymore. Oh, cut my own hair anymore.
Okay, good.
Be the barber and the NCO. We're retired. We done stopped all that.
That's good. So, how was your Thanksgiving week? And I know you got to spend it with your boys. So, how are the boys? How was the turkey day? All of that fun jazz.
So, a couple different places. Obviously, with the different recipes and menus. So, family time was good. Couple didn't get to see a couple cousins I usually see. Oh man. And you know what? Yeah, there was people were moving. The niece was moving, so we didn't get to see her family at all. So anyway, but now the boys had fun. We chilled out, did a little bit of work, chilled out, and anyway. And I just got, you know me, I got the smuggler's blues, so I had to come back. Oh, spin I'm out, spin I'm in. So I'm by myself, live on the thing, obviously, and then Sandra's gonna dial herself back in. I think she's probably doing some things. I might just be talking to myself, and it looks like I'm on a live screen, but I'm not. But I feel that I am, so I'll discuss it. Thanksgiving was good. Oh. There's a there's the whirling thing of death. Hey, you're supposed to curl your hair, not the whirling thing of death over
Yeah,
there. So.
no, I had some issues. I forgot. Okay, because I usually have my phone on Do Not Disturb during the hours of the show, but since we cut back an hour, I turned it off, and then I forgot to turn it back on, and so then people were trying to call, and it didn't just. Somebody who's on the air right now gets very angry when he tries to call me, and I'm not on the air, and he can't get through. So I had to turn it off. What are you doing? Are you making sure your Do Not Disturb is on?
So
You're already
you've
disturbed.
you've done a lot of. Hang on a second.
I have to sit up straight. I can't be
How about
comfortable.
now? Can you hear me now?
I could hear you the whole time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, I couldn't. Yeah, you were like frozen, and then it sounded like computers. So, yeah,
No. Like I went
I've.
away because someone tried to call, and I forgot to turn my Do Not Disturb back on.
How about now?
You're good. Well, as soon as I said he was good, he disappeared with the buds.
Hey, do you have one of those aluminum hats?
I swear I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. We're good.
Can you still see me?
Yeah, I could see you. I could hear
Oh,
you.
it's a single screen. It's not even a split screen right now. So okay, cool. I'm cool as long as I'm there.
But you're here. But
Okay,
are any of
yeah.
us ever
My
really here?
hey, you see on my shoulder?
Yes.
Because I can't see it.
Yeah.
It's,
That's pretty intense. It almost looks like you're at the beach if I didn't know better.
yeah, no, I'm on the border of Texas and can't tell you where. So
Well, it happens. It
anyway,
happens.
there's a river.
So anyway,
There's a
huh?
there's a river right over there. Doesn't have any water in it, but it's our favorite
But
river.
it's there. It's important. It's important. I we were talking about Thanksgiving before all of the things happened. This was my first Thanksgiving without my oldest child. And I wasn't really okay, but he FaceTimed in and was on the phone with everyone for like most of the evening, so it was better, but it's still not the same.
Hmm.
He wasn't stealing things as I was trying to make it, and just all of those things. But it was he's
Well,
with
your
my
oldest,
brother, so that made it better.
yeah, your oldest child called me about 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I didn't answer, but I was sent a video of him getting shocked with what looked to be a taser. Is that right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also got that video probably
So
around the same time of the morning.
I, I got a I got a I got a
Austin now
cattle
watches it on
I,
replay.
I got a cattle pen over there.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna teach him how to pee on a fence and actually hit the wire.
Okay. No, Austin watches the video of Alex getting tased on replay. Charlotte was and dies laughing every time. Charlotte was not impressed or amused. She was not happy that they were hurting her brother.
Yeah, I did the tase the one time I needed to do it, and I said, "No, I'm not doing that to my heart." So um, we taught that course over and over again, and I said, the Geneva Convention does not allow for tasers. So they either get a bullet or they get a release, but they don't get both.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's I don't get it because you have to volunteer. It's not like you don't get to just they just do it just for the hell of it.
I don't believe in less than lethal. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So I like to be the guy that hands them out.
Anyway, so this coming week is SREC week in Austin, the big quarterly meeting. Do you have any excitement to tell us about that, or just so people can be aware? It's going to be airing on YouTube, supposedly live if you can't be there in person.
No, actually, I'll be there. I just got a confirm from my boss, so I'll be there a day early. Not a full day early, but um, I got some meetings with. I've got some meetings with some land commissioner people, things like that. So uh,
Very good.
not just there, but the usual politician stuff. As far
But
as
just
the
as a
as
go
far as the
ahead.
party as the party's concerned, you know, honestly, people need to notice that the party is in a holding pattern right now. We don't have a Speaker of the House. We don't have the president in the office yet. We've got good things that the governor's office has been doing. Um, Apparently, school choice is everyone's talking point, with the exception of the grassroots people. The delegates, things like that. So, um, bottom line is, you know what? They just need to remember this. Jesus is the season and the reason for the teasing, and maybe we can get along and see what the party's going to do. I imagine there's going to be a lot of gratuitous resolutions. I'm thinking about a few. Um, I'm going to do a filibuster for 374 minutes is going to be my goal.
Yeah, that's
And
impressive.
well, no one's ever spoke for 374 minutes before with the SREC, so I figure I'll break the record that's never been made. So how about that?
I know people are on pins and needles. Now, just as a reminder to the Gen Pop, anybody can come to the SREC meetings. They are open to the public, regardless of what the sentiment is. What the?
I do know we've got both sides of Texas coming. There's some presentations that are going to be made on some of our election issues. Those are going to be on
Mhm.
Friday at noon. Um, with Lisa Hendrickson with her committee, that's the Election Integrity Committee. Um, so we get to hear about some of the truths. On the border itself, especially Maverick County and Valverde County. I obviously Brewster County. I don't consider Brewster County it's a red county, period. So Maverick, um, Uvalde, um, Valverde County, good wins for some Republicans down ballot. And the neat thing there is we have some constables in the Republican position. We have some we have some county commissioners that moved into the slots. We're seeing Maverick County kind of fall apart because right now Operation Lone Star, apparently the county auditor has quit. The county attorney against him and is being accused of misappropriating Operation Lone Star funds. Um, I mean, and people need to remember that these $92,000 pickup trucks were given to investigators that don't do Operation Lone Star stuff. The secretary at one point had a $92,000 Chevy diesel fully loaded pickup truck drive home.
Yep.
That anyway, and apparently she really didn't want the booty call in the back seat that obviously she was getting, or I don't know what the case is there, but I read the report and it's um, looks like a LA script for porn. So yeah, I would I would call it mischief in Maverick. But yeah, I mean we're talking the 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 legal, and I don't need to be grotesque, but I mean we're talking, it literally reads like a porn script out of Los Angeles. That's exactly what the legal pleadings were from the plaintiff, and then the responding county attorney puts in there. What I read was, hey, um, what I did wasn't on the clock and it's not illegal, but I don't know. She was asking for it. Was dressed for it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the. We've been discussing sexual harassment for since the 1980s. It's
Mhm.
been coming, 90s, and you'd think by now that uh, this uh, this is a millennial generation thing, millennial slash Gen Z stuff, and man, yeah, just don't
Well,
don't cross that bridge. Don't touch that bridge. Don't undress that bridge.
no, no.
Just
You know what? I'm
just
okay with it. I'm okay with it. You want to know why I'm okay with it? Let the sexual harassment continue. As long as they have transgender story hours in schools, as long as there is kindergartner teachers teaching about private parts and sexual identity with children, let the adults be harassed.
well
Don't come at me with we have
when
to do this with children, but it's against the law for adults in a workplace.
yeah, when we're the ones paying for it, don't waste my dime. You want to go diddle the puppies, you go to the pound, but don't
You're
pound
using your
don't
money for it in
don't
school, my friend.
don't don't pound on the county attorney's desk. How about that?
Well, then how about we have them stop pounding on our children in the classrooms first?
Well,
I
there.
feel like that's more important than an adult.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the two are totally different. Yeah, the county attorney should be first about what's going on in the school district. But anyway, so bottom line, um, the politics on the border are over. I mean, everyone should just realize we're in a holding pattern until we got all these lame duck sessions. So, lame duck candidates, lame duck offices, and we just need to we need to way to squeeze in between two trucks, knuckleheads. Could have driven around one side or the other. But anyway, we just need to notice that now's the time just to get ready to make your mark on January 1st. So,
Yeah. So January is going to be a big month. It's something that you and I were talking about. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in contracting. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in just busyness of general laborers and things like that, trying to hurry up and get ahead of the rush that I think is going to happen when Trump comes into office on getting some permits and jobs
oh,
started and things like that. And
oh no, I'm physically looking at. Uh, we got surveyors all over the place out here. They're ready to start pumping oil out in West Texas, up into New Mexico, up into the Panhandle. They're the drill, baby, drill, all that kind of stuff. The pipeline projects going lateral, the water reclamation, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. And then the leaders and legislators that you're going to need are going to be in Austin. They're going to be engrossed with, are they making the governor mad? Are they making him happy? Are they making a lieutenant governor mad? Are they making him happy? Is the speaker my friend? Does the speaker hate me? Am I going to get this legislation through for that guy over there because he can't get it through? It has nothing to do with me. I got no clue what I'm arguing about, but I'm going to write a bill on the border even though I'm 400 miles away and never
Mhm.
been, that kind of stuff.
That's not true. Some of them have been, Walter. They all have their picture at the wall. Give them a break.
Oh yeah, forgot about the pictures of the wall. I'm actually going to bring a couple panels with me to Austin, and we're going to set them up close to the trees. And I'm just going to tell people, hey, this will save on. This is my my push on saving money for gas and whatever else, green energy. Whoop de freaking do.
So, you have a question from the audience, Mr. West. Mr. Beal asks opinion on Drew Darby. Painting a
Depends
picture.
on depends on what for. No, I know who he is.
Okay.
It just depends on the legislation and judging from who's putting it down. Is that Mr. Hudell?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. It's going to depend on what legislation he's got. Because I've made some friends with some of your frenemies and made some enemies out of some of our friends. So,
we're here we
We've
are in
been
an odd
busy.
here we are in an odd situation. I mean, it's you walk in there with the intent of just pissing everybody off, and then half the people are like, "Hey, we kind of like that guy." I'm like, "That was the wrong crowd. Wait a minute."
It's been
So,
odd, really, since the last calendar year, political friends have been very odd this year.
well, you know what, and
I'm not mad about it. It's just
yeah,
happening.
but you know what? So I'm getting these phone calls, and they're the whole man. I remember you saying something about this 2 years ago, and I'm just like, we didn't have to have all these bumps and bruises if we just if because my thing is if I say something you don't listen, well then screw you. I'm rolling on. I got somewhere else to go. That's obviously something we're not going to be able to get together on. So I'm not going to waste my time. And a lot of people get upset with that, but I'm like, well, I mean, it is what it is. I just but there's a lot of other folks that they just want to nail down every single point. Then I'm going to come back and rehash it. I'm like, dude, we already discussed it once.
Mhm.
So let's and it's not oh it's not oh well, I'm always right, but I mean it's some of these things that were predictably correct. And it's you just got to look at the whole rainbow. Whatever you're only looking at the green and the yellow or the violet, then you're not going to get the full picture.
Right.
So
No, I think it'll be. I think that that's a lot of where the problem is, and I think people have given you especially, but both of us a lot of flack for being able to reach across, being able to have conversations in multiple circles, and just doing what we're supposed to be doing. It seems very odd that that would be a problem because people want to be cliquish, and this realm is not the realm for clicks, but they
yep.
very strongly made it one.
Nah, totally. And yeah, and yeah, I'm just I'm in an odd position because I'm used to the one running the ball, and now that I have to work for and work with people, uh, the whole teamwork thing happens, and sometimes the people from across the aisle are the ones that are really doing some good stuff for you. So,
You're in your 50s, and I'm so proud of you learning about teamwork now.
oh, trust me, we had a close knit small team. We did a lot of really incredible things. You know what? They never gave me a book deal or a movie script over the whole thing.
So we haven't had a show since then.
Oh, you're not kidding, man.
There's too much to unpack in 30 minutes, but do what you want.
Nah, I'm just they uh yeah I'm still trying to figure out the Marcus Luttrell thing. They well, I mean, there's folks that knew the whole time, and now there's all these podcasts coming out where they're dissecting every word he said. And, basically he's admitted that the storyline that Hollywood, he was handed a book while he was on active duty and trying to recover from his wounds a couple of years later. They handed him a book and said, "Hey, this is your story. Get to know it." And then they sent him to. I mean, he literally says it. They sent him to New York. He got a suit. He had attorneys. They set him up with attorneys the whole bit. And, most of his story was bullshit. And and we knew, you and I both personally have friends that recovered Axe's body, and the biggest thing that people didn't understand about Axe was, it took him what 12, 13 days to find him, but he had only died within hours of him being found. So the fact that the mission was FUBAR, and on top of that, it was like, oh, Navy SEALs, Navy SEALs. Man, it was a local Green Beret team that came in there, ODA team, and it was the Army Rangers that went in, and the Army Rangers went in to secure the site, the crash site of the 16 that died. I had a friend of mine that was the medic on that chopper, and I mean, they took a RPG, clean up the tailpipe of that Chinook, and it is what it is there. Um, but anyway, they these guys were tasked with going to recover the bodies. They recovered the bodies while up there. It was like, hey, we got a we got a blip on the screen or walkie talkie or the radio they were using, which come find out now they had to use. They specified they wanted to use this certain radio, and it was it was a crappy system. They were told not to do it. And sure enough, they had no radio contact. Couldn't get out properly, and they had to go. Murphy was he was killed when he was trying to find clean air to broadcast from, and they got him out there. Marcus Luttrell specifically stated, I believe it was Anderson Cooper's deal, where he said it was at one point he's sitting there and hearing people scream, and he just put his hands over his head. He just, he wanted to get out, and that's combat stress, and that's what people don't understand. But you've got Mark Wahlberg coming on the screen, and Hollywood made a whole thing out of this, and it takes us back to the Jessica Lynch stuff where she fought her way through with 2 bilateral femur fractures and a broken back, and was raped and beaten and all that kind of stuff, and then that never happened. But she was quick on. Whenever they sent her home and she had a parade, and they put her in uniform, and she was going to be a big recruiting tool. She basically told them to go pound sand, and finished up, and they were going to make a Hollywood hero out of her. First woman POW type stuff, and she said, no, this ain't happening. She testified in Congress that it was all bullshit. The Pat Tillman stuff. He was, great. NFL football player that says, holy crap, I'm going to give up all these millions of dollars in contracts and Arizona and all the other stuff, and I'm going to go put on a dadgum tan beret, be an Army Ranger, and go overseas, and he gets killed, and they have this big combat story. It turns out it was bullshit. He got killed by friendly fire. I mean, to this day, I'm like, a guy in what I like to call sandaflage, the desert camis. You got a guy that big, that brawn, you're walking at you. That ain't no Iraqi. So or Afghani or anything else. I mean, bottom line is he was killed by friendly fire. It finally came out, and people were told to lie, and if you look at it, Army guys didn't lie about shit, and then they turn around and Navy SEALs been hiding this stuff. It's next year is 20 years. In June of next year, it's 20 years to the date that all that BS happened. So then they start. Now they're, well, what about Rob O'Neill and Osama bin Laden? Well, now they're questioning all that stuff, and I'm like, dude, the Navy's having to play catch up right now, and since half their people are in dresses, and I'm not just making fun of just being Navy and how we make fun of those guys. I'm telling you right now, the military's been demoralized by Joe Biden, who's out there pardoning. he's seen the Hunter Biden laptop. I know for a fact he's probably seen all that kiddie porn that's on there, and I mean, we've got people that looked at it, and it's a legit deal. He just the stuff going on right now, and I'm not gonna I'm going back to my video of Kid Rock when he comes out and gives everybody the bird and grabs his crotch and says, "Ha, we got it," and then turns around and says, "This ain't a time to gloat. This is a time to reach across the aisle to our friends that want to get the same place but have a different method of getting there." Now's the time that we win hearts and minds, and we, this little deep state that people don't want to talk about, has been figured out, and it's time that we work with our neighbor, no matter who they are, to make sure we clean up the neighborhood.
Well, and it's kind of, I don't want to say funny, but it's kind of funny to sit here and watch some of these people talk and carry on, and they I think that they're like, yeah, we've been saying this for 10 years, we've been doing this, we've been doing that. Okay, that's fantastic. All right, let's move on. Let's keep up the momentum. Let's not sit here and get lost in our victory dances over stuff. You see one of the statements specifically with the Hunter Biden stuff is Joe was like, well, I think that my son was just kind of being targeted because he was my son. And clearly the FBI or the DOJ was working against us, and they're like, oh, so does that mean that you feel the same way for Trump? And he was like, oh, no, 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 let's not get carried away now.
He, he literally used Trump's talking points about how, and it was like, no, dude, you're the one who's been in charge. And you know what? Actually, this goes to show Chris Wray is the director of the FBI. Trump's the one who put him in, and he screwed Trump and Biden. And you've had Cash Patel, who's now a nominee for that position. Once we get past the inauguration, and that's what people need to realize. We're still over a month out. I made the statement. I said, you know what, Kamala Harris is going to be your next president. I'm not predicting anything bad happen to Biden, but I don't think they're going to keep that guy in to testify for all the BS afterwards. And
You know what?
he's got presidential immunity, and they took it down for Trump. So guess what's going to happen? They're scared that Biden's going to lose his pizzazzles. Well, what's Joe Biden going to do? Here's what nobody's thinking about. So Hunter Biden has been pardoned for what he's charged with, and even stuff that it's an unconditional pardon all the way
Yeah,
across.
for
So
11 years in the
guess
past.
guess what Hunter Biden doesn't have anymore? He no longer gets to plead the fifth. He no longer has the Fifth Amendment. You put him up on a stand, he's been pardoned. So he has no Fifth Amendment. He cannot get in trouble for what he has to say. He can be compelled by a judge to say it. He can be compelled by Congress to say it. He can be jailed for not saying it because now he has no reason to. People aren't
Right?
thinking about that. And I'm like, this is the stupidity of a Delaware attorney thinking he's got everything together in his early 80s. You know,
Well, with that being said, though, so let's pretend that they've had a meeting with Jesus. Let's just pretend that they're like, you know what? Let's fix things. Let's make things right for our wrongdoings over the last decade. He can't get in trouble for any of it now, but now he can take people out. Now he's a political weapon.
oh no, no, totally. And the flip side is this, though. What you have to look at is when you look at Biden, Biden wasn't prosecuted for all the illegal um, uh, files that he had from being the vice president and from being a U.S. senator that were sitting next to his vet in the garage, all that kind of stuff. They went after Donald Trump for having boxes of his schedule and his calendar and stuff in his bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and it was probably thrown into one of the rooms he wasn't using, and they threw him in there. And it's going to be stuff like his calendar, things like that. But Joe Biden had sensitive materials, and he was never the president at the time that he took all that. And what did the FBI guy come in and do? He came in and said, well, he didn't mean anything by it. So yeah, I'm still on the whole thing, but it's time to just abolish the FBI. I mean, it had probably had a great thing that they thought about back in 1934, whenever all this crap went into play, back in the 30s. But at the end of the day, you know what? That's when the Democrats were working with the Nazis, when the Nazis were working with the Palestinians. I mean, the world was a different place back then. We've been through the Second World War. Then we have all the proxy wars that started up. People are finding out that the nuclear arms race was BS back in the 50s. Russia at one point only had 4 nuclear weapons, and we literally didn't have, the American public was sold on the mushroom cloud. And then come find, then Russia said, hey, you know what? We're getting accused of this. Let's catch up. And so then they went into high gear. Then they went into the space race. So past 100 years, between the CIA, the FBI, there's a lot of people that just need to be, a lot of departments that need to be done with, kicked out. We need to get people to where they start trusting their neighbor again, and they take care of their neighborhoods. We got less cops on the street, less feds knocking down your door, and more opportunities. So there's less time to be a criminal and more time to be a prospector.
I mean, that seems like the American dream.
It was 100 years ago when there were
Yeah.
no jobs.
It's funny. You and I had a conversation yesterday about, people who there's a lot of, and this goes in with what you were saying. There's a lot of people who are anti-Israel, even as Republicans, because they're for the Zionists and things like that. And you can't. That's just like saying that you're anti-America because you hate Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's been the leader. Like you can't hate a whole nation because of one group of who is in the nation, and yet that's what we're seeing. And it's the way that I phrased it to you yesterday is, are you fighting for the America that you have right now, or the one that you remember?
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's kind of a gut punch question, but I think it's something that Americans need to kind of stop and ask themselves.
No, you're totally right there. And um, folks need to look at the fact that the whole anti-Semitic thing was because at that time over in Europe, the Jewish people had a lot of money, and so that was class warfare. And so, what better to do than blame the Jews for everything? And then the Palestinians, the Mufti, and all those people, they who worked hand in hand with Hitler. And everyone's talking about this free Palestine right now, or the colleges are, and I believe that the colleges are kicking those kids out that are doing that just because they don't want to be a target anymore. They could care less what those kids are doing, what those kids are saying. But now that Trump's coming back in office, oh, we don't want to lose our funding. So, the bottom line is this: they did it with the Jews. It's class warfare. They're going to talk about the rich Jews, so they got to go throw they got to go throw the poor Jews under the bus also. Once they get rid of the Jewish people, what are they going to do? They're coming after your race. They're coming after your religion.
Right. Well, and it's been a slow morph, and it really, but it really hasn't been. Like, there's been such a radicalization since the 30s, almost 100 years, where they are taking these denominations and they're like, oh wait, we have the same enemy. Let's all become one, and all the way to the point where we're seeing where the Muslims and and the Nazis were working together, and now that Muslim Brotherhood bullshit concoction is working its way into now. And what was that billboard, Walter, that you saw?
Oh, so the it's on Highway 71 South, just outside of Lagrange, as I forget that next town. It's not Elgin. It starts with an E, but it's to the south. It's on the way to Columbus. Anyway, and it basically says Muslims believe in Jesus and his prophets. Because remember, they used to say Jesus was a prophet. So now they're saying they believe in Jesus and his prophets. So they believe in Jesus the prophet and the other prophets, or that's they're always changing stuff. And which Muslim brand is this? Is this the Sunni tribe? Is this the? I mean, and again, that's stuff that the normal American's not gonna. They're not gonna know. All I know is when when Donald Trump was talking about the Muslim nations, um, and they said, "Hey, we're gonna have a Muslim ban," and then all of a sudden, all the people had, "Oh no, we have to love other religions too." They were trying to turn him into like a Jew hater type thing, and it was like, no, no, it's what they got to stop trying to rewrite history. Bottom, that Donald Trump's not the nicest person when he goes to talk to people on Twitter and talk about stuff, but he's been effective. Joe Biden will sit there and tell you, well, I don't want a black kid as my neighbor, but then he's got all the blacks saying, "Hey, that's our president." Oh, wait a minute, you didn't vote for me, or you ain't black, you know. And I watch the debates between Larry Elder and these other black influencers and or community leaders, and those guys are defending Joe Biden left and right, and Larry Elder's just sitting there going, "What are you, stupid?" And just running it. He's like, "No." He goes, "Let's take care of the black on black crime. Let's take care of this. Let's take care of that. All the Chicago stuff. Look at Chicago. It was black on black crime. Then all of a sudden, hey, we're going to move all the illegal aliens in. Oops." And you know what? I was watching, running from that one over to Tom Homan. I was watching Thanksgiving dinner with Tom Homan and our friend Mike Banks and the governor and the general. And you know, uh, and Mike Banks was putting Tom Homan up on the, and Tom Homan's become a friend of ours. Um, he's a very busy person, and he's taking it personal because he was one of the ones in charge. He took the licks on the chin from Congress, from AOC, and had the left spin all that stuff up that he's a racist. And he's spent a lot of time down in the trenches with the dead bodies that the federal government's made. And And you know, as our friend Thad Cleveland said, there's nothing wrong with our immigration system. The fact is they're not funding it, and that's totally true. But Tom Homan was he's talking about the mass deportations and all that stuff, and he because we've got friends that are concerned. Hey, we've been standing in line, but our calls haven't been answered. And saying, you know, your payment, you need to get a new attorney, and the new attorney's saying, oh, I need a new. I know you spent $2,000 for retainer the last time, but I need $1,000 for me too. So, and it's all these immigration attorneys that are ones, you know, rescheduling things, and the fact that these, you know, we don't have the proper federal system in place right now with the judges, the prosecutors, the immigration officials that can do casework and things like that. So Tom Homan was sitting there talking, and he says, "Yeah," he goes, "most of the people that came over gave their explanation, were given probate, or they were given parole." When they should have been kicked out of the country because the parole was here. Here's this. Here's a credit card. Here's a cell phone. Here's Social Security that somebody else earned. We're going to give it to you. Oh, by the way, your court date's in 18 months. Your court date's in 3 years. Your court date's in 7 years. However, just so you know, your situation is not applicable for asylum. We're going to tell you right now. But here's this. You work for a little bit, take someone else's job, and you know that's the most insulting part of it is the fact that we have all these homeless, not just veterans. You know, I'm tired of the whole veteran thing being used because now we're, you know, with what's happened with Marcus Luttrell and veteran, and all that kind of crap. Because I'm a veteran and I got every right to sit here and say that screw you over, and I'm not lying. Um, but at the same time, we have all this veteran stuff coming, all these homeless people. Yeah, you got people who are now living on.
Hey, Walt,
A lot of them are.
hold on. You got really garbly all of a sudden. Are you good?
How
You're
about
even
now?
a little frozen and pixely.
How about now?
Ah, there you go. That's better. Go
Am I
ahead.
good? Am I good now?
You're
Yeah.
good
So
now.
you know everyone's on the homeless veteran kick, but it's just homelessness period. And don't talk about the veteran. Talk about the Americans. Talk about the Americans that were kicked out on the street. You know, look at the illegal alien kid, the 5 year old, that criminal child that came across the river in the arms of two different dudes, and they got cameras. They got it on camera. That's how they knew where to go to, who to catch. And the mom said, "Hey, I'm a resident alien, registered. Anyway, she's a resident, so she's here legally in North Carolina, and she paid the cartel or the smugglers $8,000, $1,000 now. So she participated in trafficking her own child. You know, the whole thing people aren't looking at is why do Americans who have homeless kids in a tent that can't afford their house anymore because they can't get work, why does CPS come out and take their children away whenever this lady's getting reunited with hers? And you know, and I put that out there. Lieutenant Oliveris is with the DPS. He's a good dude. He's a strong personality. I think the governor's people I think McCraw and all of them had a right pick to make him the voice of what's happening on for Operation Lone Star. But the one thing he didn't talk about, he talked about charges of this, that. He didn't talk about what's going to happen to the mom. You know, I mean, the mom needs to be charged because if you hand your kids over to, hey, can you hold on to them for 3 days? Don't you think you deserve a visit from CPS? So why isn't that? Haven't we heard about that? And this time and time again that just because they're, you know, they're asylees and all that kind of stuff, they're not going to be treated differently. You had Tom Homan get accused of child separation, and the fact that he created this memo. Um, yeah, whenever you get a DUI, your infant does not go to the prison cell with you to wrestle with Uncle Bubba in the shower by yourself. Your children don't want to watch that.
Right.
And the kids in cages, yeah, everything's been politicized. And the fun part is, and this is why the Marcus Luttrell thing came out. These podcasts are coming out more. People are getting into conversations more. And that's where they want to get their information, is from the horse's mouth. No longer do they want to get on CNN and find out, oh, they're not talking about this at all over here. Wow, I guess it's not a big thing, whenever it really is. And these podcasters, I mean, Joe Rogan is killing it. You know, Elon Musk is supporting people, putting stuff out there, and there's some fun stuff happening.
Well, and I mean, it kind of, not to beat the dead horse on this conversation, but, we had the same thing happen with us, with them trying to get us to change the narrative on what was happening on the border. And they're like, oh, well, that's what we want to hear in DC. And I'm like, but that's not the truth. So, this is stuff that we can say, hey, we know from a firsthand experience that this is happening. And this is leading to why our country is in the predicament that it is in, because we've allowed it for so damn long.
Yep, yep, nope, totally. That Yeah, that's the funny part was the all the DC people. How many people have flown down? Hey, we want you to take us here. Oh my God, that's a horrible story. Not just is it a story, but here's the proof. Here, when Cam Higby came down with his group, um, and they actually got to interview a 72-year-old rape victim. We got to sit there and enjoy a burger together. But how sad is it that people have to come from the West Coast to nobody put the 72-year-old rape victim on their interview screen. I mean, she's not going to sit there wanting to talk about it, but people need to know that, hey, someone's grandmother got held down by four different dudes from Venezuela, from Honduras, you know, and released into the rest of the interior of the United States of America. I mean, it started with local law enforcement, was cauterized by federal law enforcement, and then here it is, a bunch of private citizens, the ones that have to put it out because, well, you know, the cops' hands were tied, the feds' hands were tied. When you raise your right hand and you're an oath keeper, oh, can't say oath keeper anymore. That's right. Didn't those guys try to take over the Capitol? Yeah, nah, bullshit. You're an oath keeper, period. You take that oath, you die with that oath. If you're in a wheelchair at the age of 80, you better be ready to fight for your country. Because
Well,
if
the
the
80-year-olds, the
soldiers,
current 80-year-olds are absolutely still those people. It's some new
yeah.
ones coming up.
Well, whenever your military's got to figure out which transgender dude. I mean, if you're non-deployable, what are they going to start doing? Well, you don't have to carry a gun anymore. But yet, whenever they come to that fort, the fort that used to be named after the Civil War hero, but we had to change the name because of the ethnic cleansing we're having. So you're there here, and your fort gets overrun. Yeah, you can't just pull the transgender card. No, you're in the battle, buddy. So if you hadn't been practicing all this time, then get ready to get mowed over. And we're not talking about in a disco club.
Thank you for that visual. I needed that. Well, the other side to that, is exactly that these transgenders, if we care about a 4473, which we only do sometimes, everyone has to fill one out, but nobody really gives a damn, right? None of the transgenders or most of the society that we currently live in should be allowed to have a firearm because they have been under some sort of psychiatric meltdown and they take a cocktail of antidepressants. So they shouldn't be allowed to be able to buy a firearm. So if we want to play by the rules, let's play by the rules. So since they can't handle a gun, they don't deserve to be in the military.
No, no, you're exactly right. And then what are we?
But
What?
Sandra, they're not buying them. The government already owns them. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I
Yeah,
got the
no,
meltdown for you. Ugh, it's so
no,
gross.
no words. No, and not just on that. I mean, we've literally we've taken a conversation that nobody really ever that was not that again we made it funny back in the 80s and 90s. It was all funny, and then now it's nope. You're sticking this down your throat, whether it's a unit or not, and you're like, holy crud,
Yep.
gobble gobble, turkey breath.
Anyways, so I got nothing left now. Dang it, Walter. So that's good to say. I got
Uh,
nothing.
have you been watching our friend Molly?
I see her stuff all the time. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to
So
be more specific.
if if RFK or if Brooke Rollins, I if anybody knows Brooke Rollins, y'all need to get her with Molly Englehart out at Sovereignty Ranch. I'm telling you right now, we can revolutionize America and the way food is done, the way our food security is done. If you had a Molly Englehart with a RFK Jr. with all those freaking people, if you put them together, America would be unstoppable.
Well, I think if we would get out of the chlorine revolution, we'd be unstoppable anyway. But everyone's so toxified right now; it's not even funny.
Chlorine, fluoride. Yep.
All the things.
I had a good visit at home. My allergies flared up for like a day or two. And you're talking to a dude that used to travel the world, and allergies was never a part of it.
You're
I'd
getting
catch a
older now, there, bud.
do what?
I said, well, you're getting older, there, bud.
Oh, I know that. Trust me, I feel that every morning. This morning was the boss is watching me on the all of our stuff is tracked. You guys are
Right.
worried about the FBI. I'm worried about a 37-year-old bodybuilder. So uh, who, who literally knows where my vehicle is at all times, but and vice versa. But anyway, yeah, the fun part I was talking to Dr. Spires this morning, and he goes, man, how's your day starting out? I said, well, I had a wreck this morning. He goes, what happened? I said, man, I had a pillow from my left and a pillow from my right, and I couldn't get out from in between them. And it was only a 15-minute struggle, though, so it's not like it's not like it was a snooze button for 5 hours. But yeah, and then I talked to the big boss, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to travel somewhere." I was like, "Yeah, boss, already done. Did it yesterday." You know. Oh, you're thinking ahead. Yeah, I'm thinking ahead. You know what? Thinking ahead used to not be so bad, but now just trying not to sleep through it. So it's slowing down. That sign that says "slow children at play."
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's slow children at play.
Yeah, we definitely need to get that sign for your garage, for your man camp on wheels. Um, how's your? I have to. I'm kind of. I don't want to gloat, but I'm going to. I'm back on the pie and lattes and the yoga train. I'm feeling pretty good. And stretches they help, man. They help.
So
And I have to tell you something. You may not know this, but I'm gonna tell you something.
hang on a second. Hang on a second. Can you see me?
Okay. I see you.
Can you see me? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So you see that?
Yeah. Hmm.
You see that little incline?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I do 2 miles up and 2 miles down. I've already done my one up and one down so far. So
Good.
I basically rolled out of my truck, walked over to a dude, saw his prescription antibiotics on the thing, and it's one of those deals where I'm kind of the safety guy, so you got to let me know when you're on dope. And he looks at it, he's like, "Oh crap, I got to write that down. Like that's an antibiotic. I'm cool." And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, so you got an allergy, huh?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's my age, so he's like, "You want some?" I'm like, "Nope, nope. I don't do any drugs in my system at all whatsoever. That's not happening." But
Unless I shove them down your throat.
yep. But anyway, no. The bottom line is though, as I hit that thing already and said, "Nope, I'm going to stretch out," but I didn't want to stretch out. But I said, I'm going to walk down that hill, and here's the problem. Once I walk down it, guess what I have to do? I have to walk
Walk
back
back
up it if
up.
I'm going to get anywhere. Yeah. So
Well,
we're
so
we're good at
uh,
picking hilltops out here for signal. So the fun part
yeah.
for me is, you're not late for work when everyone's still on the hilltop.
Well, I one of my Pilates classes was with bands. They're like like the little stretchy bands and whatever. And this was odd to me, but Austin told me why it worked. So they told me that like I had to put my bands like around my arms, and then I could do push-ups. But like I could do push-ups. And then we took them off, and then it was harder. And I was like, I don't get it. And he's like, it's because it supported your arms. So for those of you who struggle, go get some freaking rubber bands from Academy or Walmart or Five Below or whatever, and it helps. It's
So
not just for resistance; it's also for support.
so funny you mentioned that. Yesterday I had dinner with the MacLeon brothers in Del Rio. John and Richard. You know, John just got married.
Yeah.
His bride was there. It was a good little meet and eat, so to speak. And uh, while I was at home with the boys and all of that, part of the boys that came over was Enrique. He's a family friend. Known him since his elementary school days. He's in the army now, and he had just come back from Egypt. And so we were talking about things and his career and blah blah blah, and the Colombian special force. He's like, those guys are cool. And I'm like, yeah, they're pretty fun. And I was talking to him about whenever I had the Japanese special forces, and I mean, it's we could not communicate to save your life. You know, oh, it was literally every Godzilla movie you could think of. And but we were legitimately having to train together. Um, Japanese, U.S., special forces, or so the equivalent of their Green Beret. We've got him, and I just never forget this guy. It was just like I mean, I never heard actual hell. And so we go to karaoke, and this dude is doing perfect English, and he's singing the '80s crap, and I'm like, dude, had we just not done this when he first got here, it would have been a whole. Because I mean, I had to physically, this guy was like a stone mountain, so you had to, and I'm a big dude. He was a 6'4" Japanese guy, and built.
Good land.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, he was. I mean, he was a badass, and I'll never forget. It was like, well, you're trying to be professional. The Texas humor doesn't count. It's not there. We took him to Big Lou's. He saw a big ass pizza. Took him to the big steak place, and he saw that, and it was like, oh, cool. And he's all reserved. We took that dude to karaoke, and it was like he can speak English, or he can sing it. And
Seriously.
oh man, we had like 3.5 hours of why didn't we do this months ago? Sorry, you
Well,
gotta watch.
I'm a fan of the
Gotta
karaoke.
gotta
So
watch over my shoulder, see who's sneaking. Oh, there they are, way out there. Wow, that's a half a mile
everyone
away.
should karaoke. That's how you really get to know people is through karaoke.
No, no, Japanese people. I'm talking. Those people are. It's funny, but it's awesome at the same time because it's literally, the chick you wanted to date back in 1983 or 1984. The thing that got her going was the fuzzy headphones and the freaking cassette thing, and then the I don't know when the Walkman came out, but I remember the Walkman. Oh no, it's just a radio, and so that was the cool part. And who was it? There's some comedian. She talks about. Oh no, not some comedian. It was Sandra Bullock. When she was talking about her, going out with some dude and talking him into liking her, and so she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna learn how to lip sync that one song." And lip sync in the '80s was huge. So she was gonna lip sync that one song, and then next thing you know, they I forget which one she was on, but next thing you know, she's up there and she's lip syncing it, beat bop to the hibbity bop to the hibbity whatever, you won't stop, and it's to hit anyway. And Tom Hanks was on there. I mean, it was the funniest thing ever. People were like, "Wait a minute, she actually knows all the words to that." So it was Grandmaster Flash, and that was actually from like 1980 or 1981. So, and what was really funny was like the other day, where was I? Oh, I was in a huddle house in Eagle Pass, and they were playing the early '80s uh, disco rap, like breakdance music stuff. And I'm like, and the girls in there, she's like, you know, they were slammed. They didn't have a lot of people there, but they were still slammed. The cook was out there serving and stuff like that. So you know, you could tell they were needing help. And that was the funniest thing was that music was playing. And I'm like, I'm on the border, stuck in a black restaurant disco joint from the 1980s
Yes.
as a white dude. So yeah, there you go.
What?
My rainbow is always shining.
Oh, it's something. It's something. Well, my friends, it has been an hour. It's been a fantastic hour. It's been an hour and 6 minutes because we do what we want to around here because we don't answer nobody. So we will, as promised, we're gonna change things up. So we won't see you guys again until Thursday. So we'll see you guys on
We might,
Thursday.
we might, we might do some lives on Friday from the SREC meeting,
Yes, that
as
is true.
long as all of our batteries are powered up.
You're asking a lot right now.
I need to, I need to get with my old friend Amy Headkey and see if we can get the bra and boots. I'm never sorry, never mind. There's no not a bra, but the boots. If we can get her to bring the boots out with her telephone bandwagon.
Ugh.
No, I'm teasing. She's a good
Good
gal.
people.
She's an anarchist that, but you know what she does? She's fair and she records everything. So
Yep. Yep. Well,
everybody needs an Amy Headkey in their life.
allegedly, the RPT is supposed to stream it on YouTube. Although last time they did delete some of it, so
Same.
hashtag no censorship at my SREC. Ha ha ha. All right, you crazy kids. See you guys on Thursday. Bye, y'all.